The Brothers of Liberty, here to remind you what true freedom is. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Liberty with the older brother Kelton here. Today we are going to be talking about martial law. The reason why is because I think we saw what happened in Canada with Dictator Trudeau and his emergency powers, and now I'm pretty sure we'll see something similar in the next few weeks here in America with the little truck convoy going to D.C. Now it's not that little, but some people would say it's little. The French minority in Canada, and they pretty much was told that they do not have a right to protest if the government says it's good for you. Just like Nazi Germany, USSR, Fidel's Cuba. List goes on and on. Well, with martial law, a lot of people always think that martial law suspends the Constitution. It does not. The Constitution is the most supreme law of the land, and believe it or not, the Constitution doesn't mention martial law in there. Nowhere in there. Look it up if you don't believe me. So there's going to be a lot of challenges to it in court, which they haven't really done. But and they're like, well, there's no law saying the president they can't declare martial law. Well, that completely begs a differ because we do have the Posse Comitatus Act, and I know I'm probably mispronouncing it, but let me just read this to you. Now, I got these from Brennan Center for Justice, and they even said themselves, in martial law, according to them, even under martial law, the Constitution applies to the federal government and cannot suspend rights. For that act I just mentioned, and this is the whole word for it. Whoever, except in cases and under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or Act of Congress, willful uses any part of the Army or the Air Forces as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the laws shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. So technically, if a president decides to declare martial law to use the military or any federal troops to carry out civilian law, he or she can actually be arrested. Obviously, that won't happen. He'll just probably get a big fine. Um, there are exceptions to the law that allow the president to use the military to suppress genuine rebellions and to enforce federal civil rights laws. Um, so if he, let's say, declares martial law because he don't like what the truckers are doing, well, the thing is, though, we have a constitutional and civil right to protest. So he should be actually declaring martial law to ensure the safety of the protesters. I'm sure he'll have no problem doing it with BLM, but God forbid if you believe in the Second Amendment and believe the government has too much power, then you're considered an extremist. Um, Now, according to the Brennan Center, there are no constitutional exceptions to the Posse Act. Laws allows only for express exceptions. No part of the Constitution expressly empowers the president to use military to execute the law. No part of the Constitution. Now, the Department of Defense, of course, claimed that the Constitution implicitly gives military commanders emergency authority to use federal troops to quell large-scale, unexpected civil disturbances when doing so is necessary and prior authorization by the president is impossible. No, there's a chain of command. The Constitution did not say the general can quell insurrectionists. But you know what the Constitution does say? Article 1, Section 8, roles of power of Congress to provide for calling the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection, and repel invasion. The only place in the Constitution that talks about insurrection or anything like that, not even under the powers of the president, has that. The only thing it says is that the president is commander in chief of naval and armed forces. So, of Defense, where does it give you the authority to be God? I just want to know. Um, the Department of Defense also claims an inherent constitutional power to use military to protect federal property and functions. Once again, no, it does not. It doesn't say that the Army can do whatever it wants without Congress approval or the president's approval. But hey, who's counting, right? I mean, this is a day where our government thinks the Constitution is something you wipe your butt on. I'm pretty sure Joe Biden uses it every time he poops his pants, but hey. And Cornell Law School also states, furthermore, all federal, state, and local officials must take an oath to support the Constitution. This means that state governments and officials cannot take actions or pass laws that interfere with the Constitution, laws passed by Congress, or treaties. That's the Supremacy Clause, and we went over that before. And remember what it says in Supremacy Clause: the Constitution first, comma, then federal laws, which is passed by Congress, which means the Constitution supersedes every single law. And the only way you're supposed to make laws is in support of Constitution and laws that does not interfere with the Constitution. Now, of course, Biden's going, in his years of BSing. He says that the Ninth Amendment is very important. It's funny how he doesn't say that as president. Wonder why? Because if the Ninth Amendment was important, that means he would pretty much be advocating that we have rights that's not listed in the Constitution, which means we have rights to say no to a mandatory vaccine by a federal government who has no authority to issue it in the first place or take our guns away. And as far as martial law, no indication of martial law in the Constitution. Now, yes, they're in state government constitutions, and state governors has done it, and yes, presidents have done it too. But theoretically, from what I read from the actual Constitution, it seems only Congress has that power. Maybe someone needs to challenge that and take it to the Supreme Court and not go by. It doesn't matter what journals say, what laws Congress has passed. Did Congress pass laws according to what the Constitution of the United States, the most supreme law of the land, says? And if you disagree with me, point to me in the Constitution that says the president can declare martial law. Please do so. Anywhere in the Constitution. Tell me the section, the article, paragraph. Because I'll show you. And we have the same Constitution unless you're working with Joe Biden's Constitution that literally takes every person's rights away. But that's just my opinion. What's your opinion on it? Like, share, subscribe. If you have any comments, feel free to comment. We love to have discourse. And I'm showing you research from the actual United States Constitution. And I want you to do the same to me because at the end of the day, that is the supreme law of the land. It supersedes all other laws. Hence why it's called the supreme law of the land and why it was created first. And if you have any topics you want us to discuss or messages you want us to pass along, brothersofliberty76@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And once again, this is the older brother Liberty, always here to remind you what true freedom is and ought to be.